Hi guys, welcome back to more NCIS. We're on episode 5 of season 1. The way I've decided I'm gonna tackle this is because obviously this show is nearly 20 years old and we were right in the transitional period of the internet becoming a reliable source, more stable, faster connections, then streaming services came along. We know the score, we know the history. But it changed the way that television was done and perceived, and a lot of TV shows today give a full continuous storyline, not just episodic one of the week, and it being totally procedural. So I'm expecting the further that we get in, the more character development, the more overarching storylines we're going to get, and sometimes maybe, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 part episodes where the same case is continuing. So for now we will just discuss what's happening in the episode before and after, and any character development we will jump on as and when we get it. So with that said, the introductory part here now will quite often be quite short, apart from me explaining this one. Because there's no point rehashing what we've just gone over in the last episode if the case has been resolved. What we will carry forward is stuff that's going on with our main characters, but we're still getting used to them yet. Kate is the new one of the team. As far as I'm aware, there's not anybody else quite as new as her. Everybody else is established. So for now, we're just going to carry on, try and work the cases out, soaking what info we can, the way that they work, the way they handle things, and more than anything, I want the backstories of all these characters. Right, because we've got a damn long way to go. You ready? Episode 5. This isn't Navy. It's just some dude out hunting, isn't it? What the hell's that? Farnsworth. Okay, it's not. Oh, it's not a missile. It's a dead body. Oh my God, he's been mummified.
Grab your gear.
My 3 favorite words.
Deer hunter stumbled onto an aircraft drop tank. Navy markings.
We're driving to Maryland. Look at a drop tank.
It's got a body inside.
Drop tank.
Now that's different.
Yeah.
I don't know what one of those are. I'm sure we're going to find out.
How did he get so...
I believe mummified is the adjective you're searching for.
No air, no bugs, no
sealed.
critters.
And more important, no bacteria.
Touch anything else?
Not after I saw King Tut.
I don't see him having fuck all to do with
Lieutenant
this.
Commander Farnsworth. Think he's our mummy?
I don't know. External fuel tank?
370-gallon external fuel tank
That's
off
what
an
it is.
F-14 Tomcat.
I'm impressed.
I'm
Didn't
impressed.
become an NCIS agent yesterday, Kate.
No.
As a matter of fact, tomorrow is...
It'll have been 2 years.
That's kind of touching, Gibbs.
So he's been here 2 years. Kate's been here like a month.
Our sailor is a lieutenant.
Let me guess. You're gonna suggest I ride back in the flatbed with the driver.
Wasn't a suggestion.
Secure chain of evidence.
And there's a serial number on the underside of the tank.
Good.
We'll know where it came from.
That tank came off a Tomcat. Somebody filed a TFOA report.
TFOA.
Things falling off aircraft.
You're kidding.
Nope, that's what they're called.
Fuck off! Is that a real thing? TFAO, things falling off aircraft. No, TFOA, whatever. They've actually called it that. Although I'm used to the other one, which always sounded way more impressive as a kid. Like, oh, it's some technical term, BOLO, and it's just be on the lookout. So I learned that one years ago. A lot of these acronyms sound like the like big, long, complicated terms for stuff, and sometimes it's just normal language that's abbreviated. Things that fall off an aircraft.
It's not unlike the Egyptians, however. Their mummified dead were buried along with personal treasures to accompany them on the journey to the afterlife.
Yep.
He's not a golfer. This bag belongs to Lieutenant Lynch.
And we'll crack the secret of the mummy's curse in no time.
Abby.
What?
That's me.
When?
March 4 in 1994. He was declared a deserter 30 days later, and he received a dishonorable discharge.
Hold the phone. 1994, this guy disappeared. So that thing's been hidden just under those leaves at a surface level for, what year is this first season made? 2002, 3? I don't know. It's approaching a decade, hence the mummification. So no one is no longer looking for this guy, are they, after this length of time?
Lieutenant Schultz was charged in absentia with theft of government property. $1.2 million out of the Eisenhower safe. He was their dispersing officer.
Pilot was Lieutenant Commander Farnsworth.
Good news, Commander. It took 10 years, but we located your luggage.
No one on the ground reported being whacked in the head, so the Navy conducted a cursory search and
Wrote it off.
This was in the spring of '94.
Aha. Abby estimated how long the pod's been in the ground, right?
Don't know, do you know?
Okay. How do you know the date?
Yeah.
I pulled Lieutenant Schultz's service record.
Our mummy's a crook.
He tried to make his getaway in a cargo pod.
I doubt it.
That's a good point. So even if you were even possibly remotely considering that this guy may have done this on purpose to escape with the money, one, the money isn't here, and two, being ejected at that height, at that lower atmosphere, 30,000 feet, it would have killed him. So that suggests he was killed, put in here, and whoever did this is the one who's got the money, who has gotten away for it for the last 10 years because they blamed him, because they never found it, right?
Well, young man, you'll have to match your smile. Yeah, the lieutenant was in remarkable condition given the precipitous fall, but something quite small must have punctured the chest cavity. Yes, I'll need to send a poor boy for a CAT scan to get a proper look. Ash, this amount of bleeding could only occur when he was alive.
Well, I'd already kind of presumed that, but you had to
Yes, I
get the
suppose it
evidence to
does.
back it up. Yeah. I had surmised as much because he wouldn't purposely put himself in there.
I found Lieutenant Schultz's widow. She's remarried and living in Arlington.
Go get her.
NCIS Special Agent afloat Richard Owens investigated the robbery in '94. He's currently assigned to NCIS Pearl Harbor.
There was a rumor that he had started a new life with the money and a new
Disappeared.
woman.
Where's
Was
the...
there any basis for it?
I would normally say follow the money trail, but the fact that this was 94, it wouldn't have been a digital money trail. It would have probably been real, actual cash. So you can't follow the money to try and find who the murderer was. How the hell are they going to do this?
6 months of that, he was at sea, Agent.
Oh, so very doubtful then.
Sound likely, does it?
No. No more likely than his being a thief. He'll be exonerated?
Not
We have
necessarily.
reopened the
Not yet.
investigation. So, you're remarried.
Do you know more?
Yes.
Oh.
After 6 years, I had Mark declared dead. Randy helped me move on.
I really, really hope I'm wrong with this, but this happens more than you think. What if... what if Randy there is the one who framed her husband for it and not only got rid of him, but won twofold? He got the money and he got the wife. Did he bide his time? Do they have... You need to check into his money at least.
You haven't gotten anything?
Flags and benefits
Really?
are only for the honorably discharged.
Wow. That's
You haven't
rough.
been in the Navy very long, have you?
No, she hasn't.
I'm still not.
No.
If you clear Mark's name, Alicia will benefit. She'll have a better life. Money for college.
I was sure he swam ashore with the cash. That damn case has been the only blotch on my record for 12 years.
Well, if he stole it, Agent Owens,
he didn't.
where is it?
You're
Beats
way
me,
off.
but it's not on that ship.
Who searched?
Hell, the entire crew.
Finders keepers?
What are you implying, Gibbs?
You didn't
Nothing.
do your job properly.
I'm just wondering how you managed to search every inch of a 95,000-ton, 24-story
In 2
tall,
days.
1,049-foot-long aircraft carrier in 2 days.
He knows his fucking details, right? I mean, the one person here that is already very obvious is Navy through and through, is Gibbs. I don't know Tony's background yet. We already know some of Kate's background and where she's come from because she's so recent. But I mean, the way he just wheeled that sort of information off as to the technical specifications and crew, crew size of an aircraft carrier just shows he really knows his stuff.
So as far as you know, that money could still be on board.
I have nothing more to tell you.
Okay, we'll see.
The hooks fit in these holes. Now, when the pilot wants to eject the pod, he flips a switch. If he had popped it, the ejectors would have made dents in the pod.
You know, when you think about it,
So it failed?
if the lieutenant was still alive, that would have been one hell of a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, top of the hole's damaged. This one
It's been
too.
To
tampered
remove a
with.
pod on deck, you insert a key into the MXU rack and turn it.
Leave marks like these on the hole.
Except the mummy's curse was working.
Abby, there was no mummy 10 years ago, so how could there be a curse?
It's like a chicken and egg thing.
Mary got a call from her first husband the day he disappeared. She just given birth at the Bethesda Naval Hospital.
It's a big deal to call home from a ship in '94.
The signal
Oh, he
was
said
bounced
that.
off a satellite and routed through the comm office in Norfolk. Wiles? Randy Wiles?
Ding, ding, ding.
You're not getting me to bite again. You read this report. No.
The assistant dispersing officer.
At the time.
She said he was her husband.
I'm Special Agent Gibbs. This is Special Agent Todd, NCIS. Lady inside said you're the manager. Randy Wiles?
I saw in the news. If you're here to talk about Mark, I told you guys all I know years ago. You talked to Mary?
I did. And funny thing, she never once mentioned marrying her husband's shipmate.
No.
We met at Mark's memorial service.
What'd you say?
That's
I was
convenient.
passing by, dug the music, decided to drop in? In a guy flick, you steal the money, you set Lieutenant Shells up to take the fall, you murder him, and you marry his wife.
That's the guy
That's
flick
sick.
version.
It sure is.
This is my day job. At night, I do freelance accounting.
I don't know. I don't think it's just him. I mean, if he took the money and his wife had no idea that his shipmate was her former husband, they don't seem to be living the means which would make it completely pointless of him stealing it in the first place. This whole story behind him saying he met her at the wake at the funeral and fell for her, it's plausible. It's unlikely, but it's plausible. But I feel like there's a key piece that we're missing here, and I don't know why, but the fact that we've got the other old case officer involved in this, and he's made it blatantly obvious that he's not that good at his job. He may have been elsewhere, but he said this is the one case that haunts him. Maybe because you know subconsciously that you did a subpar fucking job of it. And that still makes me believe that the money is on the ship, still hidden somewhere. Obviously not for anybody to find, other than the person who put it there.
Mary and I rent a house. Alicia goes to public school. I drive a 6-year-old Saturn.
Yeah,
Now,
it
do you think
doesn't
I'd
add
live
up.
like that if I had $1 million?
Your dispersing clerk, Petty Officer Toner. She left the Navy too. They pass her over?
Aaron enlisted to catch an officer.
Wiles was in an all-night poker game, and Aaron was already in her quarters.
How do you know?
The Navy ran that area like it was a sorority. No men allowed.
I'll bet you all you did was take her word. Gibbs.
Lieutenant Commander Farnsworth and Ensign Lynch died in a ramp strike 2 years ago.
We can cross them off our list of millionaire accomplices.
You mean suspects?
Lieutenant Shills was probably killed by an accomplice.
Both. If we exonerate him, then his wife and daughter will get the death benefits they deserve.
Yeah, there's not necessarily a conflict of interest going on here, but Gibbs is concentrating on catching whoever's responsible, finding the money, showing up and embarrassing the sloppy investigation that the other guy did, which I agree with. But as Kate's just quite rightly pointed out, she's also looking at it from a more non-detached, female, emotional side of things, just for caring. That he's got a daughter and that the wife never got anything. There is no way they've got the money, and now that the body's been found, he should be getting something. They need to, if they close all of this up, she may get that, right? I'm going to struggle in the first 2 episodes, maybe even the first season, until we get a diverse section of different types of cases, until I get used to the ways and means of Navy life. Yeah, we know why you're stood there, guys.
Pro told me you were teeing off.
I was trying to.
They were.
I'm sorry to hear that Mark's been dead all these years. I always imagined him on some beach in Mexico sipping margaritas.
Well, if that's true, then his accomplice got away with the money.
They did. We know why she's
So
here.
you're wondering if I was in on it with Mark?
No way.
I carry this for good luck.
Oh, for God's sake.
You can laminate a losing ticket.
I'll show you the write-up from the Canton Gazette.
She won the lottery.
Well, it's an automatic reflex when one is a golfer, Abigail. And don't yell "for" when I have a niblick in my hand.
What?
Niblick. Sounds like a sex act.
Yes, that's what I thought it was the first time I heard the term.
The closest I get to playing golf is not having any energy wasted. I play golf online. I play a golf game. I've never heard that term. How old is that term? You'd think something like that, code names or different names that they actually give golf clubs, you'd think they would put in it as tidbits. I don't know. It's quite an expansive game as well, but it's straight away I'm going golfing.
The CAT scan revealed a puncture wound to the chest cavity.
Ouch.
Oh, ouch indeed.
So what about your niblick?
I was trying to see if this could have caused these hair fractures.
What about his abrupt stop on an e-ticket ride?
No. There were faint traces of bleeding on the CAT scan.
The safe hadn't been jimmied.
Right.
Ensign Wiles and Aaron said nothing was missing but the cash.
Referring to her by her first name.
We're not allowed to fraternize with enlisted females, you know that. But I wasn't screwing around with Aaron. She had something going on with one of the airmen.
Since it was his hottie working here, should have looked into him.
You're right, sir.
Do not tell me that she has a rich husband.
No, she won the damn lottery.
Did you check that out?
Yeah, saw the winning ticket and newspaper clippings.
Got him. Ted Martinez, aviation machinist, made second class.
Petty officer second, probably a plane captain. You're asking me to make an assumption, Agent Gibbs.
I'm not asking you to write it down.
Don't tell me.
Petty Officer Martinez was the plane captain on the Tomcat, dropped the pod that had Lieutenant Shields' body in it.
Well, I limited it to naval personnel that served between 90 and 94. Still a lot of ridges and curves.
Still no match?
Nothing good enough to take to court. But if my life depended on it, I'd say it was her right middle finger that made that. They're made out of urethane-coated nylon.
So it's not. Mailbag.
Bag, Abby.
Oh, mailbag. Are you telling me whoever killed him stuck him in a fucking mailbag to get him up to the top deck, to get him onto the flight deck, and then tamper with the clamps on the drop thing before it's attached to the Tomcat? Tomcat takes off.
She hit for $37,000. She lied.
Unless Martinez or Toner admit Shields had nothing to do with the robbery, there's no way to exonerate him.
I'll get them to confess.
Good luck with that after a decade.
How are you going to do that?
So the bitch did lie. She won $37,000, not $1 million, which is what I thought, because I was a little bit disappointed with that, because she's like a gentleman's country club, golf club, and you can see she's scouting to be a trophy wife and some rich guy here. If she'd won $1 million and she's that independent at this point of her life, she wouldn't need that. She wouldn't want that. That's why. So that led us off. It's brought us full circle back round. It's her and another guy.
How? I can't arrest her, can I?
No. She has to come voluntarily.
Old
Petty
CGI
Officer
graphics.
Martinez surprised him with a knife, ransacked the safe, and forced Lieutenant Shields to carry the money to a Tomcat, where he murdered Lieutenant Shields.
We wanted to make sure we had the right scenario first.
That one works for me.
Not for me. He'd have resisted someplace, especially in a passageway full of sailors. How do you move him to the pod if he was dead?
Uniform.
In a mailbag.
I saw an orange mail bag being dragged over knee knockers when I visited the ship.
What do they call it? The door frames. What do they call them on a ship?
I'll get back to that in a minute. If Martinez did stuff his body in a mail sack and dragged it across the ship, how come nobody noticed anything that was,
Hanky?
Smart.
Now, who would have noticed a sailor dragging a mail bag over knee knockers?
How's that animation?
Yeah, I like that.
Much better.
Yeah.
However, it's not evidence. And the rest of you for unlawful detainment.
You're free to go. Well, I said I'd get back to that fingerprint. It's yours.
Oh.
Awesome.
Didn't find it on his uniform. Got it from the Federales. Found it on the pistol that killed Martinez in Pedro Negras.
Why, you killed him?
I don't know if it was you or Martinez that killed Lieutenant Shills. You can tell it any way you want.
That fingerprint match was faked? Okay. You guys are crazy.
I didn't know that either. Oh man, this show's good. That was a complicated episode with a lot going on, a lot of details, a lot of technical details and evidentiary connections. The girl Abby in the lab, how she pieces some of this stuff together. I know a lot of it is she's just doing her job, analysing what's brought in, but she makes connections like she figured out with this drop thing, with the hooks and everything. She's very good. She's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very proactive and can think like a criminal when needing to, as to what may have or may not have happened, and then see if that scenario and that theory fits the evidence. But that whole scene at the end there, how they got her to come in voluntarily and then made her pretty much strip herself up. So, I mean, obviously we didn't get a, you know, like in the old shows in the 60s and the 70s, in particular one sticks in my mind, The Streets of San Francisco. Really old show, unless you're my age or older, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Not the original one anyway, with Carl Malden. Always had an epilogue at the end, case of the week, because that's how it was done for a very long time. So we didn't really get that in this episode, but I'm assuming with all of that being resolved that the wife would get death benefits for his daughter, which is what Kate was really hung up on, wanting to make sure that this case went twofold with that. The black guy, what a sloppy ass investigation, but at least he saw the error of his ways. He stuck around. He made himself purposely miss his flight again to make sure he saw, well, just basically where it went wrong and where he was in effect distracted by her enough to have not delved into it any further, on top of the fact that that's how she distracted the other guy, getting his body from where the safe was up to the flight deck. We don't know who did the killing, but it's pretty obvious, even without the actual fingerprint match, that if she then killed the other guy across the border, she's the one who did the killing. So they've got the right person. This shows, it's got some incredible writing in it, and it's got a nice balance of serious cases, CSI like detective stuff and science stuff going on, with just like a sprinkling. I think I said it already in the last episode. It's got a sprinkling of humour, and it's in the right place, and sometimes it's purposely not in the right place for it to be humorous when certain things are happening. I'm loving this so far. We're only 5 episodes in, and I am hooked. I would sit here and watch this all night if I could, and do like 10 episodes in a row, especially knowing how big a fucking task I've got ahead of me if I push past season 1 of this and do the whole thing. I'm gonna be collecting my pension by the time I finish this. Yeah. I will, if this show is popular enough for me to maintain reacting to it and putting it on all the platforms, Patreon and YouTube, then I will have to up the episode count, because if I keep it as it is, 2 a week would take me about 3 or 4 years. 1 a week would double that. We need to bring that down. I don't mind a show scanning over a couple of years at least, like the X-Files did and The Walking Dead did, but we don't want to be dragging it on for half a decade, do we? Not to mention, while we're doing this, they're still continuing to make them. So we're playing catch up. So if we only do 1 a week and they're releasing 1 a week, we're not catching up, are we? Right, okay. Did you enjoy that? I enjoyed that. Push comments down below. Can't remember the name of the thing. Knee knockers. And what was that golf club thing called? Is there names for all the clubs and irons that are old world terms like that? I don't know. I'll be interested, because I love that golf game that I play. It's very relaxing. The golf club and 2K 22, 23, something like that. If you're interested, if you want to look it up. Right then, we are doing 1 a week on YouTube. We are doing 2 a week on Patreon. Eventually YouTube will probably catch up if it becomes popular, but whichever platform you are watching this on, in particular if it's YouTube, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you are on there and you want to watch the full length reactions, same goes as normal. If you really want to help the channel out, especially with me taking on an undertaking of something as big as this, I would appreciate for you to at least just have a look in the description, and I will take you to our Patreon. You can make your choice from there. Right, see you for episode 6 next. See you for the next one.